What's up, my beautiful people? Exile451 here with yet another daily dose of Reddit Happy. Going back into r/AskReddit today, so let's get to it. Okay, I know it wasn't necessarily the most popular video that I've done for AskReddit before, but there's some really funny stories in there still. So for today, we're going back to the Sunshine State. Residents of Florida, what's the most Florida man thing you've witnessed? I went to the dollar store near where I live, and the guy on the intercom says, if you have a goat, please secure it. It's running loose outside. Sure enough, there was a goat eating the bushes. Then this stoner-looking dude wearing camo comes out of the store and says, "Crap, I thought he was in." Then he puts the goat in the back of his truck. It's the goat of the Dollar Tree. Not something I'd ever expect to hear at a dollar store. Watched a dude drive an ATV through a lake. Not sure if this is something people with ATVs do often, but the guy was up to his neck in water. Just getting to the money. We eat a lot of alligators. Gator tail is common. You'll see someone walking up to the function on some, saw this one just hanging around up front. Tons of homeless people doing drugs. Just smacking the old crack pipe right outside the gas station. In my hometown, a dude shot his brother over a McDonald's cheeseburger. Also in my hometown, there was a police operation codenamed Rollin' on the River, in which the police raided River Road. Tons of heroin/crack/meth moves out of that road. I live in a college town and see dumb crap often. Like, once I saw a very drunk woman yell, "Well, I've never taken a Xanax before." Then proceeded to tell security an underage girl had just popped a Xanax while surrounded by a bunch of live lizards, scary dudes, and she was probably going to die. Then I left the bar. What the frick? I mean, if that's leave the bar worthy, then how crazy is this state? Former Florida resident here. Mine is tame compared to most Florida man things, but this one still left me speechless. I lived in South Florida, so I spent most of my time in the Miami/Fort Lauderdale/Palm Beach area. It feels like nobody down there knows how to drive. It's a combination of old retirees, the worst exports from New York City and New Jersey, young trust fund kids, and immigrants from countries without strong driving cultures. So things like turn signals or safe-to-drive vehicles are entirely optional. Then you throw in tourists from all over the world, each with a completely different expectation of how driving is supposed to work, because that's what they're used to it being. And as you might expect, this leads to some interesting situations, and lots of accidents that cause traffic jams. Nothing really exceptional, but you start getting to the point where you hope it's something worthwhile since you've taken 30 minutes to go 3 miles. We're sitting in one of these traffic jams, but it's not terrible. Maybe a 10-minute delay on city streets. So it could have just been some idiots trying to turn left out of a shopping mall 1 lane at a time and screwing up traffic. Then we come upon the scene of the accident. A Honda Civic is overturned on the median, perfectly centered, as in the vehicle is parallel to traffic. 100% on the medium, with about 2 inches to spare on either side, and upside down. There are no tire tracks on either side, there is no curb damage I can spot, no other vehicles involved, no debris, all the tires look fine, and there are 2 very confused looking cops standing behind it discussing it. To this day, I still don't know how someone managed to perfectly flip their car while keeping it in between the lines without leaving a trace of evidence. That's some funky X-Files stuff right there. I can really relate to what you're saying about driving though, because where I live, we get snow, and I don't know what it is, but for some reason, as soon as snow hits, it's like people that have grown up in this state their entire life suddenly forget how to drive, forget everything they've ever learned, and it is just chaos. It doesn't even have to necessarily be heavy snow. If it's enough to just leave a footprint, there's accidents everywhere. It's unbelievable. And the thing is, we get much more snow than just enough to leave a footprint, so you can imagine how bad it gets. Ugh, I hate the drivers in the state with the fiery burning passion of 10 million suns. I'm a very charitable, loving, laid-back, easygoing guy most of the time, but these drivers will just set me off so fast. Don't know if anyone saw this on Barstool, but there was a dude that jumped into a canal on top of an alligator. Yeah, that's my school. I know the guy, and that's probably the most Florida man thing I've personally experienced. He got made fun of for a while after. Let's see. Man driving a motorcycle with nothing but a white t-shirt, shorts, flip-flops, and a gun stuck down his butt crack about to fall out. This mini golf place we go to has a pool of small alligators. A girl dropped her phone in it, and without skipping a beat, the employee just climbed over the fence and retrieved it as if there weren't a bunch of alligators in it. There's like 2 roundabouts in my county. One day, a guy in a lifted truck just drove straight over it, like the inner circle. Didn't yield or anything. An impromptu Trump parade. This Trump 2020 truck pulled down a street and drove at parade speed, and other cars just started following while honking and waving flags. Finally, when I used to work at a liquor store that was next to an abandoned restaurant that had a huge parking lot, these guys would routinely come in, buy booze, sit on the curb of the restaurant entrance, get hammered, and then beat the crap out of each other. This was like once a month. They were identical twins. I'm probably forgetting the most Florida man thing I've witnessed, but these came to mind. Some kids playing catch with dead fish they found. Same group of kids went from the beach to a nearby hotel pool to throw a jellyfish into the pool. A man trying to spearfish around a reef with barely any fish and a whole ton of people. Hotels are buying more and more of the beaches near my hometown. It's stupid. And one time visiting, one of their employees was very actively concerned about people stealing their sand. I live in Bartow, and last year in school, 2 girls planned to kill whoever walked into the bathroom with pizza cutters. Are we talking like the rolling pizza cutters, or are we talking like the big old kind of crescent knife pizza cutters? Because the latter I could see actually possibly doing it if it's sharp enough. But what an odd way to kill someone. I spent a summer visiting my cousin once in Fort Myers. Saw someone driving a couch on the freeway. Coffee table, side table, lamp. They thought of everything. Yep. I've seen a ton as a former resident, but my absolute favorite is about Shorty, a real gem of a man, named for obvious reasons. For a few months, his favorite thing to do was dress up in a super stanky gorilla suit and tell anyone that would listen, "I escaped from the zoo," while getting hammered and stumbling about. Ah, L-Dub. Never disappoints. South Orlando to the Lake Worthless. Love y'all. Lived in Jacksonville for a long time. A few things I can remember. There was a guy that would drive his lawnmower up to a gym I used to go to. A former co-worker of a video game store I worked at came back and robbed the place after he was fired. And a few dudes ran a meth lab a block from my old high school. They got busted, allegedly, because one of their dealers was a registered sexual predator who was only stopped there due to his proximity to the school. Probably a few more. I used to follow Florida Man religiously. Always expected to see someone I went to high school with on it. There's a guy in South Tampa that just walks up and down the main road shirtless doing kung fu moves. If he's not doing that, he just sits at one of the public benches singing/dancing/waving to cars and drinking out of a 2-liter. He does this every single day. My first day in Florida, I was in Lake Buena Vista when a car nearly rear-ended me at a stoplight, like within inches. The driver and passenger left the car, empty, in the road, with the doors open. The driver chasing the passenger with a baseball bat through the busy road, over the hedges, around a resort. Welcome to Florida. The cops descended on that place within 1 minute. Like 10 cop cars, mostly undercover. Jacksonville checking in. My boyfriend witnessed a Florida man who had just caught an alligator and brought it to a gas station. He proceeded to pour beers down its throat. Good old West Side Jacks. Okay, before I ask how, I guess I should just ask why? Why on earth would you want to put beer down an alligator's throat? Why would you want to hold its jaws open to shotgun beer into it? Or just pour it down? Or why would you want to hold open an alligator's jaws, period, for anything that isn't immediately threatening your life? I don't get it. We have this homeless dude who lives near the Walmart we go to. He always looks drunk and does these hilarious rollerblade dances. Well, one day he was rollerblading drunk and he fell into the ungated lake near our Walmart. There's alligators in the lake, so obviously he started yelling. When he was taken out, he saw that a crowd formed around him and decided to jump back in. Needless to say, he didn't survive. JK, he survived. Yeah, dude, probably not the best thing to joke about. During Hurricane Michael, one of the locals interrupted a news report by driving his bass boat upstream through the storm. It was hilarious. Former Floridian, though I suppose it never really leaves you. I once saw a nice new all-black Mercedes driving down Sunrise Boulevard near the beach in Fort Lauderdale, on only its rims. in broad daylight. The tires were completely shredded off, as was the rim. The wheels were bouncing from spoke to spoke as they turned, carving up the road and spraying sparks everywhere. I can only imagine how screwed up the driver was to continue on like that. I'm an escaped Florida resident. A couple things come to mind. First, in high school, we had bonfires in a friend's cow pasture. While that was normal enough at these events, we would get super drunk, soak tennis balls in flammable liquids, light them on fire, and hit them back and forth at each other. The second thing that comes to mind is also from high school. Two guys drilled a hole in the bottom of a Mountain Dew can, drained the dew, added drain cleaner, and stuffed it back up the machine. A cheerleader drank some. Plant City was a weird place. Oh dude, those two guys there on that second story, dude, what the frick? How on earth is that even supposed to be funny? That could kill someone. That's likely to kill someone. Oh my gosh. That upsets me. That angers me, actually. That first story, though, really takes me back to my high school days, because I had a good friend in high school, and actually he's still a good friend to this day, and it's really kind of funny how most of my high school friend group has relocated from California to where we live now. Go figure. But he lived in a more kind of rural part of our county. So whenever we'd get together to do bonfires and stuff, it was always out at his family's place because they had just a huge lot. And I mean, we never lit tennis balls on fire, but you know, some people played hot coals to the point where there's one guy who has no feeling in his fingertips anymore. And yeah, a lot of stuff got lit on fire back in high school. Never witnessed anything too crazy. Or maybe I have and I'm just desensitized. But I grew up in the boonies of Central Florida and had some strange encounters with wildlife. One of our neighbors who lived down the road a ways was a Florida man who kept exotic birds as pets, and they would frequently escape. I remember getting in the car to go to school one morning and seeing a peacock on full display walking around my yard. A couple years later, his emu escaped and got trapped in the cow pasture behind my house for a couple of days. There's also so many weird vehicles. One of the most memorable was a pickup truck that had its back window replaced with a neon-lit aquarium, live fish, and everything. Possibly the strangest, most Florida man thing I've seen, though, was when I pulled up behind this old redneck couple in a golf cart, which had been decorated to look like the General Lee, at the Panda Express drive-thru. The husband was dressed like Santa Claus on a beach vacation. Flip-flops, red shorts, white tank top, full white beard, and a Santa hat. Can't really blame him for that, though, as it was Christmas time. The wife, strangely, was not dressed like Mrs. Claus, so that was a little disappointing. I've seen a hearse on a highway entrance ramp engulfed in flames. Other cars just continued to drive around like it was a normal thing. Well, didn't you know it's the latest craze when it comes to cremation? Roadside assistance, got you covered. Okay, maybe that was a little off taste and bad, but yeah. I was fishing on the Lake Worth Pier next to some gruff old dude. Next day, woke up to the headline and his mugshot that a few hours after I left, he attempted to jump off the pier and stab a swimmer that got entangled in his line. Don't ever mess with that guy's fishing experience. Oh gosh, Florida, I love your state. I really do. But there's something in the water out there or whatever that really just drags out the crazy. I mean, dude, keep them coming, please, because these are so funny. That was r/AskReddit, and if you want more funny or uplifting AskReddit content, then go ahead and check out the playlist link in the description below. Now you guys go out there, have a great day. I will see you all tomorrow. Until then, I'm Exile451. Stay beautiful, people.